Welcome to Geek Nerd Tech on Black Hollywood Live. Today, Instagram has Insta Snap, their version of it. Pokemon Go gets sued, and Google sending some people to the Olympics. Let's go.
You are tuned in to Black Hollywood Live's Geek Nerd Tech.
Welcome to Geek Nerd Tech. Oh, we forgot the music. Damn. Welcome to Geek Nerd Tech, the show we break down nerd culture and tech news from a black and brown geek perspective. I'm Joe Braswell. I'm joined as always by Keely Shine. How are you, sir?
I'm well, man. Everything's well.
Everything's good. Good.
Yes,
I see you got the Star Wars shirt on.
Got the Star Wars shirt on. Yes, sir.
Good. Busy week. This is actually 2 weeks in a row for us. That's good. That's I don't know. Maybe things are somewhat coming back to normal. Lots to discuss. But before that, I want to get your thoughts on a couple things. Did you get to any movies this week?
I have not. No movies in the last week. Definitely plan to catch up on that in this weekend and maybe the following weekend. But I haven't been able to see the new Star Trek, the new Jason, none of that. So
okay.
And yourself?
Me either. I saw Star Trek because I had to, but I did not see Jason Bourne, which is a travesty. I did not see Suicide Squad or anything else, but I did see. We'll get to this a little later in the show, but I did one late night force myself to watch episode 1 of Stranger Things.
Yes, sir.
And I thought it was spectacular.
Yeah.
So I thought it was spectacular for 1,000 reasons that we could talk about later. But I'm late to this bandwagon. But it's you were absolutely right. It's what I saw in that first episode was really interesting.
Yeah, it's really good. When you binge watch the rest, I think you'll really be over the moon with it.
Okay, so cool. All right, let's just get into some of these stories. So Didi, I can't ever say this right. Is it Didi Chuxing? Didi Khan? I can never say it. Anyway, China. The Uber of China. I think it's Didi. I can't remember it. Anyway, looks like they're going to buy Uber in China, which I think this has always been a thing about Uber trying to penetrate these multiple markets, and China was always hard to do. They were trying to go in China, but they had to go against Didi Chuxing, and it looks like that fight is over. Right.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about China as being a superpower in terms of their economic prowess and their competitiveness throughout the world, and especially in the global economy. But as it relates to the technology industry, like Google, Facebook have had a hard time getting into that country. Talk about the Great Wall policy, but like the firewall policy, how it's blocked in China. And so to have Uber as a Silicon Valley company, a tech company that's able to have such penetration in that country and such collaboration now, I think is really phenomenal, because a lot of the predecessors of Uber in terms of technology have not been able to have the same type of liaison with China. And so I think that is pretty exceptional. And Uber just continues to expand, man. We've done stories about them going to Saudi Arabia and now China. Uber is a superpower as it relates to technology. And you got to think China has billions of people, middle class is growing, economy is flourishing. They love technology. They're building their own infrastructure. And now to have this segue with Uber as a means of transportation, I think it's gonna blow the company up even more. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's an excellent move for Uber. And I think they're just playing their cards right, man.
Yeah. I agree. It's like we say they're like a technology superpower. Like we talk a lot about Google and Amazon and Facebook, but Uber has at this point because you got to understand that they have users as well. They don't just picking up random people. All those random people they pick up are actually users. Yeah. They're actually on the app with their information. Yeah. And so there's all kinds of analytics and data that you can get from that too. I mean, Uber knows everything about me. They know where I go. They know what I eat. They know what I do. They know what I do when I'm in Seattle. They know what I'm doing when I'm in New York. Mm-hmm. So that's incredible. It's one thing. You talk about people, all the ability to be able to reverse engineer and reverse data mine and search you and all this other stuff, like through Facebook and Amazon and all those others. Uber is crazy. Yeah. Anyway, we already talked about the God Eye they have at Uber headquarters, which was like a giant screen with every car going with everything. You can zoom in and see who's in the car. George Clooney's going to the Playboy Club or whatever. Yeah. So you can do that, and the idea of being able to do that globally is really kind of insane. That really is kind of the God eye. Anyway, so good for them, I guess. Speaking of worldwide dominance, Facebook or Instagram has now launched their thing called Stories, which people are calling InstaSnap, which is their version of Snapchat. And I mean, it seems like an inevitable smart move. I mean, Zuckerberg tried to buy Snapchat like 3 or 4 times and said no, and then finally was like, F it, I'm doing my own. It's interesting that Instagram is grown and has such an incredible user base that you can launch almost anything off of that Instagram platform as well as Facebook. So I think this is kind of a smart move, but it seems to be a lot of backlash. Every story I've seen on this, and I was talking to Lo about this too, every story that I see is something to the effect of, this is like on Instagram now, like, this is terrible, it's not like Snapchat, this is awful, and then they proceed to like do it for another all day long.
Of course.
But what do you think?
I definitely don't think, I don't share the same sentiments that a lot of critics have as it relates to Instagram. You got to think a few years back, Instagram did the same move and they killed Vine. They didn't have video a few years back, and Vine had the 5-second video or whatever, 6-second video. So Instagram dropped the 15-second, and what happened to Vine? Like, no one was using it. Right. It was a huge merge and transformation from users on Vine to now Instagram. I feel they're going to do the same thing. Instagram is a better platform, in my opinion, and I think having this type of integration in it, it is kind of like a ripoff. It is a carbon copy. It might be nuanced in subtle ways, but I think just in terms of all the ability you already have and functionality you already have on Instagram, having this element is just going to further expand their growth and make them more influential and valuable. Yeah. So I think it's a good move for Facebook, Instagram to do this. They have to be competitive against Snapchat. Snapchat is emerging. They are increasing the value in the marketplace, and so they have to. I mean, this is the battle. This is the battle frontier. So they have to be able to, I guess, volley back, and this is their way of doing it, which I think is awesome.
How do you think this plays out? Like, how do you think this plays out ultimately when the dust settles? I mean, just like we talk about Apple Music versus Tidal versus Spotify, Betamax versus VHS, whatever. How do you think this plays out when the dust settles? Is it one big company snap the Facebook gram, or is it like one person wins, or is it all go away for some new technology? Like, how do you see this?
I mean, I think it'll be a continuation of the technology. I think there'll be more of a decentralization of everything in our world, and I think there will be some new innovation, something that's going to offset what we have as tools today, and a newer, better, more efficient platform will arise that will help us with our communication and how we interact socially. Right now, I think the front runners are Facebook/Instagram. That's my opinion. Others might say something different, but I think they've done a great job in terms of capturing audiences and giving them the right tools to be able to have a very fluid communication, and so I think they're going to continue to win. I bet money on them.
Okay, well, I kind of agree. I agree. One of the stories that keeps coming out is like I keep hearing about is how Twitter is played such a dominant part in this election, and how Hillary Clinton even put in her speech about Donald Trump, like he can't even handle a bad tweet or whatever it was, Yeah. And people are asking, are we gonna when historians look at this speech, are people gonna be like, what's a tweet? Like, the fact that it's in that, it just makes me wonder about the longevity of these things that are in the moment and that seem here now, but will they last forever? So we'll see. Yeah. All right. So next, your boy Will.i.am has a new series. I think we touched on this before, but he has a new series coming to Apple, Planet of the Apps. Yeah. Which is sort of a reality show about basically app developers. I don't know if this is like a Shark Tank situation. I don't know if this is just following these guys around, but Gwyneth Paltrow's involved, Gary Vaynerchuk's involved. I know that Ben Silverman was involved in selling or producing this thing. I don't know. I got no hot takes. What do you think?
I think this is key, and we kind of touched on this last week when we were discussing the carpool karaoke and how Apple is using that as a way to drive traffic to iTunes, to Apple Music, and developing franchises or developing hubs within their own ecosystem that's going to help facilitate people consuming their product more. And this is another example of that with the Planet of the Apps. Like, I don't think Apple is really interested in developing content that's going to compete with linear programming, non-linear programming. I don't think they're going at Netflix. They're not going at Amazon's next. What they're trying to do is create, content that will help facilitate people purchasing more of their products. And I think this is the perfect show for that, because it's a show about app developers.
Right.
And so they have the potential to win $10 million with venture capital funding. Jesus. And they'll be promoted, at the top part of the App Store. So like for a small company that's developing the next future app, this is perfect. It's a win-win. You get the promotion and the promotion and the machine power of Apple as your marketing company, and you also get the infrastructure through Apple. So I think this is a way to just drive more traffic to the Apple Store, and I think it's a good way. It's a good way to use content to promote the product, and this is a perfect example of that. So,
I mean, I'm not mad at it at all. I don't. I'm always like kind of like on this. Don't know why, like half hate on Will.i.am and full hate on Ben Silverman. So when I hear that, I'm like, oh, but I don't know why, because I think it's fantastic. Yeah. I agree with you. And so I just want to see. Look, it only matters if the shit is good. So I wanted to see like if it's going to be good.
Yeah, but I don't see how it couldn't be good. Now, will it be great? That's a different story.
Okay.
But I don't see how it can't be good. Yeah. Everything Apple has done arguably has been, above average. So
that's true. That's a good point.
Minus the Apple Watch, the iWatch.
Oh yeah, Apple Watch. Is that dead, by the way? Do you think?
I mean, when you look at Apple's financial report for this year, like this is the first time in I believe 15 years that there's been a decline in terms of their sales, and especially with the watch. Like the watch has gone down 50%.
I saw one for $200.
50% in sales. When does that ever happen with any Apple product?
Yeah.
Like the iWatch sucks. And I said it first.
Yeah, you did, because I was really trying to buy one. But now, I mean, at $200, I still don't get one. I'm like, what does it have to take? Does it go to $50? When's the tipping point for me buying an Apple Watch? For you buying an Apple Watch?
If it ever goes to $50, that would be shameful. That would be shameful. Like, because it won't. Like Apple is Apple because you want the newest, hottest, coveted product. If it's $50 or it's that affordable, it's like why?
Yeah, why? And not to mention, part of what their whole sell is that we're giving you these high end stuff, these gold, everything else. We're giving you the cool bands. Like you're paying for all this extra shit.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but they're trying to. Fitbit is just still smoking them like big time. So,
absolutely.
I don't know. It's all crazy. All right. So next, Apple is trying to make some dent in their whole diversity, situation for men, for women and minorities. I mean, they're trying to, bridge the gap for pay, but more importantly, they're trying to get some more of us in there. And Apple's actually doing the best of a lot of these companies. I mean, like there's 32% female, 9% black, and 12% Hispanic, which doesn't sound like a lot. It isn't, but if you compare that to like the 2 and 4% at Facebook and Google, then that's something. But there seem that they got a lot of historically black colleges coming to the campuses, or they're trying to do all kinds of stuff in the diversity programs. I think that like the fact that they're actively trying to do something about this, and it doesn't seem like just a PR face, but putting a good face on this is encouraging for Apple.
Yeah, I think it's encouraging for Apple. I mean, it's a lot of takes we could have with this one.
Well, let me ask you why. Why? I mean, the obvious question, but why are the percentages so low, especially Google and Facebook?
I mean, why? Like most of the people in the developing world, as it relates to technology, it's a male dominant, it's a male centric world. Like most programmers are men, and most programmers are either of Asian descent or of they're white. So I feel like because of that, and also how these industries have started. They started with small, nimble teams. Like, hey, a friend of a friend, a group of friends that come together with an idea, and they scale up, and they have this now 50,000 person company. And so I think because of that, like how it originates kind of determines that. And of course, you got to talk about just the social political elements of just business, and just how across the board, not even the technology industry, but all industries, you have a problem with diversity, and we've had a problem with diversity in this country. So I think as it relates to a tech company like Apple, like Facebook or Google, I think they need to do more, because a lot of the arguments are, well, it's not just about filling our halls with people of color or women, we need to find the most qualified people, and we don't have access to the qualified people. Well, why don't you invest more money into the schools, in terms of STEM programs, where we can start to grow and foster the imagination of young kids in urban areas and young girls in urban areas, and give them opportunity to develop and have more of an interest in engineering and science and technology. And then you use that as your recruiting base. And so I feel like that's what needs to happen: more social responsibility from these tech companies, and just begin to like really prime young folks to get into this industry. But in terms of diversity in the higher upper management ranks, like, I wonder what those percentages are looking like.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting, like, that this still happens. That there's that still gap when you think of the obviously the gap in minorities and women. You would think that these progressive companies don't have those same problems, but they do. I mean, like, you look at Apple's, there's still a discrepancy in playing for men and women at Apple, of all places. And, like, I was having a conversation with someone. They were like, well, how does that even happen at Apple? I'm like, it's institutionalized. Exactly. This has been going on forever and ever and ever. So I could say it's good that someone looks at these numbers and says, okay, well, let's bridge these gaps. But I don't know. It's sad and encouraging.
So the question to you is, how, in your opinion, how do you, if you are the human resources guy, how do you determine how you fill a position? Do you fill a position just because it's a person of color or it's a woman, or do you fill the person because of their qualifications and their expertise? You know what I'm saying? Like, because that's the argument. Well, we need to find the person that has the most expertise, and that person usually isn't a person of color.
Right, exactly. I think that they're doing it the right way. I think that is always the trap. The trap is to be able to say, okay, right now, today, let me look at these applications and find the black person, and find the Latino person, and hire them. That's always the trap, because that's where people get in a lot of trouble. I think the way you do it is what the way they're doing it is you start earlier, and you go to the historically black colleges, and you look at the pool of people who are like a pool of people entering the workforce who would love. I don't care if you're an accountant. I don't care if you're a programmer. I don't care if whatever you do, you would love to be employed by Apple. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter. I'm looking at a job for everybody, like the tech or non-tech. So you go to these pool where these people are, these candidates are, and then you bring them into your programs early. Mm-hmm. And then that way, that's how you change the culture. And then you get people to promote from in. You get more Blacks, Latinos, and women's in higher positions. You get them starting out, and then in 10 years, the culture's changed. Like, you can't just start right now. I'm like any black folks here? You hire. You could do that. You should do that too, I believe. But I think that it really starts.
Does that statement, or does that argument kind of, is it presumptuous in the sense that there are not qualified women or people of color right now that are ready to take on those positions? So
absolutely.
How do we deal with those people that have the qualifications, they have the expertise, but they can't even get in?
You hire them. I think you have to identify where they are. Like, just like it's easy to say, okay, well, let's go to the black colleges, but there has to be a mechanism to be able to identify. I mean, I don't care. I mean, there's every tech conference I go to, there's a version of women in gaming, black folks in gaming, women in tech, black folks in tech. There's a version of something like that. You just got to be resources to find out where these qualified people are, and then just like you're doing just like you're targeting historically black colleges, you target all these organizations, and you got and let it be known, I'm looking for you. If you got talent, and if you think you got what it takes, I'm looking for you. So you let it be known. And then people will come. Hope, because that's all Apple's do is put the megaphone out. But if the culture is, we don't want you, don't bother applying. If you're a female or a woman, if you're female or black or Hispanic, don't bother applying. Then that's the message that a lot of companies are like inadvertently sending, either directly or indirectly.
That is the message they're sending silently.
Yeah. Some not so silently.
Well, yeah. And I think that's where all the criticism comes from. But, we talk about a lot on the show how even Jesse Jackson has been a proponent of trying to advocate for more diversity in Silicon Valley. And I think he even said in a statement that Apple is kind of like, on the front lines of making this more of a talking point, more of a discussion piece. And I think it is good that they are, leading, even though it is slow motion, but slow motion is always better than no motion. I mean,
it's one of the things. Their numbers are good, but the good numbers still aren't great at all. It's like, oh, wow. But I can't, not to beat a dead horse, but 2 to 3% at Google. Google has 57,000 employees, and 2% are Black or Hispanic.
That's terrible.
What is that?
That's terrible.
That's shameful.
And what's even more shameful is that when you start to look at the consuming behavior of African Americans and how much media and television and just the overall media that we consume, like, and how we can turn something cool, like, Netflix and chill, like, but how many people of us work at Netflix? Yeah. How many people of us, that's the thing.
Don't take that catchphrase though.
Exactly. That's the thing that really bothers me. That we can be consumers, but we can't be we can't be in the boardroom making these decisions and helping to push some of these things through. Well, that's troublesome to me.
It is troublesome to me too. But on that chicken egg thing, like as an executive say, whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? It's a chicken egg thing. It's fault that we aren't. Like, do we think there's no entry point for us, so we just don't try and get in there, or we're used to being let out? We're used to being locked out. I
think we definitely try, and I think we're halted. I think we are. I mean, we have to go through so many. We got to dance. We got to go through so many just obstacles just to get the opportunity. I don't think it's a conversation or an argument about us trying or us positioning ourselves to get the position or an opportunity. I think it's just, man, it's like you said, it's institutionalized, and it's the way of the world that has always been. So.
I dealt with some of that actually very, 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 very recently, and it shocked me at this late stage of my life and career that I would deal with sort of direct, flat out racism direct at me on a professional level. Really shocked me. I mean, I felt really naive about it as someone who's really aware of this stuff. So, it happens. It still happens.
Yeah.
The next, there it is. The Human album at the Human Family. I'm sorry, the Human Family for Apple. They released this, which was. Just in time for the Olympics, which I do want to talk about. It's a cool ad voiced over by the late Maya Angelou, but I do want to go into. I want to talk to you folks about General Assembly, because we're talking about education, we're talking about tech. So for those of you guys who are looking for a career in tech, business, data, marketing, design, trying to get that promotion or that raise, look, to excel in your career, you need 21st century training and skills. A company called General Assembly is the largest, most respected school worldwide for people seeking to grow their talents and master the marketplace. Whether it's learning remotely or in person or one of our beautiful campuses, you can join the 350,000 people who have already gotten the training they need to prepare their careers in tech or business. More than 2,500 companies worldwide hired GA's graduates, with 99% of the graduates who participate in GA's career services landing a new role in the field within 6 months of starting their job search. That's incredible. Okay. To take control of your talent and career now and find more about GA, .co/geek.
Yes, sir.
Go to ga.co/geek. Enter the promo code GEEK and save on your first class or workshop event. That's ga.co/geek, code word or promo code GEEK. General Assembly.
There it is.
There's some education and some entry points right there.
Yeah.
Family. The human family. I keep calling it the Human album. Why do I keep calling it the Human Family ad? Which is sort of this sort of like internationally based, like we're all under one roof kind of a beautiful ad by Apple. What do you make of this?
How nice that we will market the human family, but when we look at the ranks of our infrastructure, it's not as diverse as our marketing tool.
No.
But hey, I'm just saying. Anyway,
that's a great point.
I think just being philosophical and just. Yeah, this is a great ad. The Olympics brings the world together. It's what humanity is all about. I've traveled many places throughout the world, and humans are humans. Like we do pretty much the same thing.
Right.
Like we have cultural nuances and differences, and that makes us unique. But at our core, what makes us human is a thread that we all share. And so I think as Apple being a global company and speaking to billions of people around the world. This is a great representation of that, especially that is being shot by Apple consumers and users. Everything, all the visuals are shot by people that own iPhones, are shot with the iPhone. So I think that is good, kind of like using some UGC, user-generated content, and using that as their marketing tool to kind of speak this ideal or this philosophy of oneness. I think it is philosophically sound.
Okay.
And so yeah, I applaud Steve. I applaud Apple and what they're trying to do with social responsibility. Even though it is paced very slow, I think it is good still as an icon and representative of what things should be. So, What do you think about it?
I think it's fine. I think it's funny you said that, because I'm it comes in the heels of this report and reading this research, and it just is the first time Apple. I'm usually a sucker for Apple campaigns and Apple's sort of one world global mentality, all inclusive, sort of mentality. And it's the first time I've actually, just like you, saw it as a marketing campaign. And then but even in the past, way back in the 90s, would think different. I thought those ads were amazing. I think everything Apple does is amazing, and evokes all this sort of feeling. And I'm an Apple user and consumer, but when you look at these numbers and then you see this ad come out at the same time of like the global oneness of Apple, it's like it just feels like I'm being marketed to.
Absolutely.
So I have mixed feelings, mixed emotions, but I think it's a good piece of marketing. I think it's a good ad week story.
Yeah.
I think it's not a good business week story. So I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, whatever. The UGC is great. Apple, fantastic. Apple knows how to do that stuff very well. Now if they can just hire some more folks, we're all set.
Exactly.
Anyway, all right. So moving on, Google. Oh man. Oh no. Before that, Japan's okay. Well, yeah, Japan's gonna. You can watch the Olympics in 8K supervision. Actually, this may be cool, assuming that this can work. But I like the idea of, we talked about this. I mean, if there's anything that lends itself to 8K or 4K, it's sports. I think it's almost like the one thing that happens every 4 years, where the hottest, best way to broadcast and view and receive information is the Olympics, because it's especially opening ceremony. To see that in 8K would be spectacular.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's spectacular that Japan already has this technology, and 4K in Japan is like whatever.
Yeah.
And 4K here, people are barely able to buy the TVs, and still content makers and developers are still trying to create a marketplace for 4K content. So I think it's good that we have the technology. I would love to see something 8K in virtual reality, and just the fact that we have the opportunity to be able to produce content with such high resolution where it's almost unreal looking at a screen, I think is amazing. And not just the resolution of the TV, but also the sound dynamics. I mean, we have 5.1 in our homes now. This thing right here is 22.1, 22 different points in the surround sound where you could hear and have different sounds placed. I think that is pretty amazing, that you could have something that sophisticated in your home, and to be able to experience, something like the Olympics or a movie with that type of quality, like that's mind blowing.
You can hear someone from like the 200th row, like, oh no, you're like, whoa, like from behind you.
Like I'm at the Olympics.
Yeah.
I'm at there.
Yeah.
So
that's that would be amazing. I would love to have that immersive experience and see what's going on. And I don't know that I can handle. Like I said, we talked about this before, the virtual reality. I was able to try. Some folks I'm working with at Duality do a lot of virtual reality work. So I was actually able to try one of their virtual reality joints with the tactile things, for everything, and it's like completely immersive. And everything when I'm looking at it are all sort of 2D images already, but I am completely immersed in this whole world, and I can imagine an 8K situation. That's like I don't know what my brain would. I don't know what your brain would do.
I mean, that's where we're headed. Like that's what's really going to make, different topic, obviously, but in terms of virtual reality, that's really what's going to make the industry explode once it becomes almost visually realistic. Now, like the quality isn't there, in my opinion, from a lot of the stuff that I've demoed. Like, it's great because it's a great beta thing to kind of test the technology, but like once I can put some goggles on, or maybe not even goggles, maybe I can go into an environment where it looks completely real because of the resolution, then that's a game changer.
The holodeck,
or like the Matrix.
Star Trek, the Matrix,
you know?
yeah. Oh God, you know, jack that thing in your like that's yeah, man, it's coming. Science fiction. All right, so Google is sending a bunch of the YouTube stars out to Rio to live stream the Olympics. They're sending like a lot of the big stars. It's Google's way of covering the Olympics, if you will. They've got, you know, obviously Google and YouTube, I should say. YouTube has, you know, like more than a handful now. They've got a gang of people who have, you know, eight and 9-figure, you know, followers and views. Yeah. So they're able to bring these people out to the Olympics and see Rio through their favorite YouTube star's point of view. It sounds pretty smart to me at first glance. What do you think of this?
I think it's very smart as it relates to a monetization play, because I mean this year more than any other year, the ad buys are the highest ever, because I mean we live in a world now where it's not just linear programming, where you have to watch the Olympics as it's presented. You can watch it as you want. You have both options. You can watch it in real time, and you can watch it on your own time, and you can customize your experience. And so because of that, there's more opportunity for a company, a brand to advertise. And so YouTube is capitalizing on that, using these YouTube stars and their audience to be able to connect this experience, or the YouTube stars experience in Brazil, with, you know, a brand who's going to pay some ads. And so I think for the audience that's watching the content, I think it's great, because it gives them kind of like a bird's eye, fly on the wall experience with one of their favorite, you know, influencers. And then from a brand's perspective, it gives them the ability to target that audience with, you know, whatever product they're selling. And I think everyone's going to be tuned into the Olympics this year for a number of reasons, like because of technology, because of all the news surrounding the Olympics as it not being ready infrastructurally and all the disease and stuff. I think that's heightening people's awareness and wanting to see what's going to happen. Right. So I think, I just think that within the next 2 weeks, like, it's going to be Olympics, everything, you know? Yeah. We're going to be seeing it everywhere. It's going to be a part of our cultural conversation, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I agree 1,000%. I think that like this again, and also for people who, you know, their only entry point to sports or to the Olympics or to anything else is like, you know, you think of my daughter's generation. She's all YouTube, all YouTube all the time. So the idea of she's not gonna sit down and like fire up NBC and check out Bob Costas, you know. So her entry point to whatever the Olympics has to offer is through the internet, and then specifically through YouTube. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see. I think it's great. I think it's a great idea. All right. So next, here's what I've been afraid of. Comcast wants to sell your web history and here's what they're gonna do for you, Akili. Like, we're gonna give you a good deal on cable. You like cable? How much is cable right now? $100? Tell you what, I'm gonna give you cable for $65 a month. All you have to do is just let me share your information. Not even that. I'm sorry. Let me track your information. Just track your information for a bit. I'll give you 45% off of your cable bill. Are you sold?
Hey, I mean, for some people, yeah, they would be sold, because maybe they're not doing much on the internet, you know. Maybe they're not searching that much. Maybe their traffic is minimal, and maybe they could use that extra discount. But for someone like me, no, I would never do that. You're not gonna. I really don't even want to have cable. Number one, right. And number two, like, okay, you'll give me $40 off, 40% off for you to have my intimate information, to be able to just track it. No, you're gonna use that and sell it. Right. You're gonna use that and exploit it. And so, I'm good. I mean, and that's why it's a conversation with the FCC, because I mean, the FCC has to protect, you know, our rights, and if that is, you know, something that will be exploitive, or it would demean us as consumers, I think, you know, that is what the conversation piece is. And the argument for Comcast is that, hey, well, a lot of these ISP, a lot of these social media platforms do the same thing. Like Facebook, you know, they have their terms and conditions, and you sign up and you can use the platform and they get your information. How come we can't do the same thing? Yeah. So that's the argument they're making. Do you think that's a sound argument?
Yeah, I think it's a very sound argument. I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm with you though. It's just as long as you know, we're in an Asian world now, as you said, that like we're in a terms and conditions world where we just so many. There's a whole documentary on it. Like so much of our life away is signed away on terms and conditions, and like it's just. I think there just needs to be people need to be just aware of what they're getting themselves into, what they're signing themselves away for, what the consequences are. And I think there's somewhat responsibility of the marketer or the corporation to not try to trick you, the consumer, into.
Well, when has that ever been the case?
I know, never.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. Well, you know, if never mind, I'm not gonna get political. But anyway, yeah. Look, these companies need oversight, and the companies need people to tell them you can't do that to the consumer. Because companies left to their own devices will do shit to their own devices. It's capitalism. They're trying to make money. They're trying to help you. Exactly. So like, I don't. This just, you know, they just that's just kind of that's what it boils down to me. Yeah. Like, this is all the more reason why you need regulation and, you know, federal intervention on these things, and not just shut everything down. Let companies do what they want. Absolutely. Because they will not do the right thing.
Yeah. They'll do the right thing for themselves.
Exactly, always, because they're trying to make money. I want to skip this next one. I want to go right to the Pokemon Go. So Pokemon Go is a class action lawsuit, and you kind of knew this was coming. It's a $5 million one. I'm sure it's the first of many, but basically just alleges that, you know, creators of Pokemon Go have not taken into account or respect these public places that people are trouncing around and these places, basically saying like, you have no right to come to this place, to put shit here at this place, and make all these people come here. I don't know. I mean, it sounds very like ambulance chasey, but they may have a point.
I think they do have a point. I don't think that, you know, I think the concept of using AR, augmented reality, and using GPS functionality is going to be something that's going to emerge in a different form. It may not be Pokemon Go, but imagine being able to have this scavenger hunt type of app, or, you know, and be able to have foot traffic in your business increase. What happens if that's working for businesses? In this case, it's not. But what happens if it was? What happens if it's more of a positive? Like, you're getting more, you might get a deal by coming into this mall and be able to shop in the mall by collecting whatever. And so I think that's what the concept of Pokemon Go was, in terms of that, like being able to set up some infrastructure where you could be able to bring in the ad revenue. And so I think with this, though, it's kind of out of hand, in the sense that people are knocking on neighbors' doors and just is dealing with trespassing, dealing with, you know, I guess like sacred spots, like landmarks that need sensitivity when you're there. And I think all that is being just trampled on. And I think there needs to be some type of oversight. But I think the technology is awesome. The technology is incredible, but I think that there's one story I read about, like, in Washington, at Arlington Cemetery. People walking around at the great, like, that's no good. Yeah, that's terrible. You know, like walking around looking for Pokemon. That's terrible. Anyway, moving on. I don't know what to make of this. It's really like it's melting my brain. But Suicide Squad is getting absolutely killed. I mean, like, worse than Batman versus Superman killed. It's really getting killed, and I don't know. I don't know how this is possible, because I love David Ayers. Like, I love End of Watch. I love Fury. Like, I love his writing. I love his directing. The cast. Like, the trailers looked incredible. Like, how could this movie be so bad? Or is it that bad? Or
Joe, if I may, real quick.
Yeah.
Mark from the booth here.
Hey.
We just wrapped up a after show with our DC Movie News panel.
Yes.
Who did not agree in the least bit with any of the reviews.
Oh, good.
So it's really subjective. A lot of the DC fans are really responding well to it. It's just the quote-unquote common moviegoer that may not be understanding the whole point or execution.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Mark.
That's interesting, because a lot of the reviews are from like top tier news outlets, like Time Magazine, like
Fair.
All these. I mean, so that I'm kind of on the fence. Like, I still want to see the movie, but I don't know. Like, usually when the reviews are this polarizing, usually it's right, you know.
Well, I will say that I did see Batman vs Superman. The reviews were terrible. I didn't hate it as much. I actually liked it,
but they were not as bad as this.
I don't know,
the reviews.
I mean, the movie I didn't see was Fantastic Four, because the reviews were so bad. I didn't bother.
And were they right or wrong?
Well, I didn't bother seeing it. I don't know. I didn't bother because they were so bad. But I'm a DC guy. Mark, I'm a DC guy. Like this can't be this. None of this could be right. And I'm really I'm just curious when you see these reviews from Vanity Fair and BuzzFeed and in New York Times and Vulture and the Chronicle and Time Magazine and Rolling Stone Magazine. I mean, are these are not?
Yeah, these are cultural.
These are more cultural. Exactly.
Influencer magazines.
This isn't just the Sacramento Bee.
Exactly.
Like, are they all wrong?
Like any movie, it's a result of you can't go with exactly what the critics say. You have to form your own opinion. If you all are DZ fans, I'm pretty sure you're going to have a good time whether you like the movie or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're probably right.
Fair enough. Okay. Moving on. I'm going to see it. I'm going to hopefully see it maybe this weekend. I think I'm going to try to catch up on Life this weekend and see like 40 movies. So maybe I'll see that. Moving on. Stranger Things. As I said before, I finally saw Stranger Things, and I was loving it. I was loving the I don't know what it's about yet, but because I'm only episode 1. But I will tell you this. What I will say is, whatever these cats are doing, the Duffer Brothers. I don't know anything about them. I haven't done my research yet, but I'm assuming they're my age because this movie is like. It captures 1983 perfectly. Not just 1983 perfectly in what I'm looking at, but I'm talking about the way it's shot. It looks and feels like a movie I would see. It looks like Gremlins, and Poltergeist, E.T. It feels like something like I'm talking about shot for shot, and what they're wearing, the characters. It's really amazing. Yeah. But the story is they want to make a video game to bridge seasons this season and season 2.
Yeah, because season 2. Allegedly is going to start a year from where season 1 left off, and so they want to be able to have this, ancillary content in the form of a video game that will kind of communicate, what happened in that year. And so I think which is very smart. And for us geeks and nerds out there, it just gives us another opportunity to engage with, a becoming favorite franchise in a new way, in a new cool way. So I think it's kind of smart that they're teetering with the idea of doing that. So
right. Well, yeah, that's I agree. We'll see. I think we're out of time, but I just want to get to this last story on Star Wars. ABC is in talks to do a Star Wars Lucasfilm series. It didn't work out so well for them with their Marvel stuff. Agent Carter, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But are you hopeful for a Star Wars ABC series? ABC.
I like the exploration of, these hallmark, gigantic franchises that are pivoting, their intellectual property in different ways, like with what Marvel's doing with Netflix and having us have the opportunity to have the non-linear option and to be able to binge watch, one of our favorite characters. I think that's dope. And then having it on, linear television and watching it, each week, and then having, the movie experience, like having all the ways that we consume information at our disposal and us being able to choose, how we watch it, when we watch it. And so I think that for Star Wars, I think that would be a great thing to have a Star Wars option on, OTT, a Star Wars option in the theater, a Star Wars option on, network television. So I think that with this franchise, it could definitely work. It would just have to be done well,
If it's good.
Exactly.
I just want to say I have zero faith in ABC's ability to do anything but a Shonda Rhimes show. Wow. I said it. Damn. That's it. I got that. That includes sports. That includes Monday Night Football. That includes Jimmy Kimmel's cool, but I really have zero faith in their ability to execute anything. I know the last drama on ABC that outside of the Shondaland world that I was like excited about. What Castle? You watching Castle? Like I don't know. So that's just me. Anyway,
but the thought of it,
the thought of it. We'll see. All right, folks. That's all we got for this week. We're gonna try to catch up on some stuff. Over the week. I probably want to try to talk some Star Trek stuff, 50th anniversary Star Trek stuff next week, because a documentary we've been working on is going to air on the History Channel on Sunday. So maybe I'll try to have some Star Trek guests in here or something like that. But other than that, we will see you next week. Keely, where can the people find you? Damn.
They can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Akili Shine, AKILISHINE. Where can I find you?
They can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Joe K. Braswell, on Snapchat at JK Braz. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
From From executives Keven Undergaro, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us. info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I am the official voice of Black Hollywood Live, Scipio. Instagram me at KingXOBay. Thanks for tuning in.
Hollywood Redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.